Welcome back to the Common Fan Podcast. I am TJ Burkle alongside Matty Owens Sr. and Geoff in Lincoln. Big news for the Husker football program over the weekend as the Huskers get multiple commitments from transfers at positions of need. But before we get to that, we've also got some big news here at the Common Fan Podcast. In addition to being available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, which we have been for quite a while now, we can also now be found on Pandora, iHeartRadio, and Pocket Casts. The voice of the Common Fan continues to spread across the windswept plains, and now you can find us in more places than ever. So make sure to follow or subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and you can send us an email to commonfangbr@gmail.com. We always love hearing from the fellow Common fans, so feel free to engage with us on any of those forums. And of course, please tell your friends about the pod as well. Matthew, Jeffrey, good evening, boys. How are we?
Good evening. Great. How are you?
I'm good. You guys have a good weekend?
Had a good one. A lot of youth basketball. Too many travels. Terrible passing, but we soldier on.
Pretty solid. Kids went to the women's Husker game today, and so they got on the jumbo screen I think twice, which is pretty thrilling for
it's a big deal.
Ones.
It's a big deal.
They're pretty excited about that.
That's nice. Big time highlights. Yep. Guys, last night I took Michael Boy, my oldest, to Boys in the Boat. Highly recommend for all the Common fans out there. I read the book years ago. It's a true story. It's a phenomenal story. And the movie I feel like, really did the story justice. So highly recommend Boys in the Boat to all the Common fans out there.
I've heard that. I've heard a friend recommended that to me last weekend.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is.
Well, Google it, Jeff. All right. So some big news for Husker football this weekend, guys. So going into kind of even before the weekend, kind of midweek last week, they had 5 transfer portal guys on campus for visits, right? So 2 wide receivers, a guy out of Texas named Isaiah Nayor, I believe that's how you say his name, and a guy out of Wake Forest named Jamal Banks. A running back from Oregon named Dante Dowdell, and then a couple of linebackers, one from Idaho and one from Syracuse. And so these are all positions of need, guys. And pretty exciting over the weekend. Isaiah Nayor out of Texas committed to the Huskers, and Dante Dowdell, the big-time running back out of Oregon, committed to the Huskers. My understanding, because these guys are transfer portal guys, is that they'll be on campus in January, start taking classes in January, start, being with the program as of, basically right now. Also seeing really good things about wide receiver Jamal Banks from the various recruiting sites. It sounds like it's expected that he's going to commit as well. Both of these wide receivers are kind of the big body types, 6'3".
Oh yeah.
Guys who can get out and run. And I think, look, we've talked about the promise of the young wide receivers that the Huskers have, and there is a lot of promise there. But, I, for one, love the idea of sort of supplementing that room with, a veteran presence, adding a couple of guys who have been around, who know the ropes, who have played big-time college football, and can sort of also add production as well.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. I'm, I got to be honest, and I've mentioned this on the pod before. I kind of haven't gotten real excited, real into the recruiting or, now the transfer portal stuff. But I'm right now, I kind of feel a little bit like Michael Corleone. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in kind of thing. And now I'm looking at stats from 2021 of this Isaiah Nayor at Wyoming, and I'll go, that was a pretty good season he had there at Wyoming before he transferred to Texas. Now he's here.
Right. Did he get injured at Texas? I thought I read.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
okay?
He got injured. He had
I thought
a
I saw
big year,
something about that.
big year at Wyoming in 2021. He was one of the top wide receiver transfers out of the portal, transferred to Texas, had a knee injury that ended his season in 2022.
Okay,
And
that's
then
what I saw. Yeah.
23, my understanding is he was healthy, just didn't work out for whatever reason, which he himself admitted in some news interviews. Sometimes you just need a fresh start. So,
for sure.
That's the hope too. And Matty O, I think we've made it clear we're not recruiting experts on this podcast, but it is exciting to kind of see, especially with the transfer portal. You hope that you can bring in like immediate impact guys more than we used to be able to. So hopefully it's simply a matter of a fresh start, maybe more opportunity for Nair, and then Dante Dowdell from Oregon. They're just stacked with talent, and I think he was number 3 on their depth chart. And again, the hope there is it's just a matter of they had Bucky Irving, who's a fantastic running back. They had other guys who were just playing in front of him. Hopefully, new scenery, new opportunity, a running back room that has some guys that have played, but maybe you want for yet another year. We don't know who the starting running back is going to be going into the 2024 season. So, I mean, you got to be happy about, Gary Sharp. That was one of his positions of need when we had him on the program. So, very excited about adding him as well. And then of course these 2 linebackers there hasn't been as much smoke on Twitter, or haven't seen nearly as much about them sort of in the papers or in the recruiting services this weekend. So I'll be interested to see what those updates are, but we've talked about the defense a lot and how excited we are about the defense. The one area of concern we've mentioned is that Luke Reimer and Nick Henrich, both, stalwart multi-year starters at linebacker, are moving on. Reimer's out of eligibility, and Henrich, I think, maybe could come back for one more year, but he's had multiple knee injuries at this point. Yeah. I think he's moving on. So those are, as far as I'm concerned, you'd love to get all 5 of them, but boy, I hope we can get 1 or 2 of those linebackers as well. But guys, I think one of the super cool things to see this weekend is that the man himself, Dylan Raiola, was in town to help try to close the deal with some of these prospects. So you see the pictures of him at the basketball game on Wednesday, which was a great win for the Huskers over Indiana, by the way. You see, I'm trying to remember, was Raiola at the wrestling meet when Nash wrestled?
I don't know if it was there or not.
I think I had read that he was. I think it was Amy Just. I read her article about it. And I believe I read in there that he was one of the guys from the football team that were there.
Okay. But then also even in the Dante Dowdell, he posted some pics of him with Raiola, and Raiola was in his commitment video. So, you love to see, and we talked about this on the last episode, the impact of having this guy that everyone knows is a dude, is that everyone else, like his peers, know that he's a dude. And they want to come play with him, right? And so it matters when he shows up, and when he shows up and says, let's build this thing together, right?
Yeah. Well, he's like, right. What, Jeff? I was just gonna say, like, right now, the kid is like practically an ambassador for the whole entire athletic department. I mean, like he's at the Indiana game, and then I saw earlier on Twitter today he tweeted about packing PBA for the women's basketball game. And I'm like, geez, it's kind of like, dude, you don't have to do that, but it's awesome that he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's just really cool to see.
No, I was going to ask TJ if this is an Oregon guy. Is this causing a rift in your home or anything, or is everything all good on the home front there?
No, everything's fine. My wife likes to make snide remarks about how it's fine. We can have their backups, and they've been good for a while now, and we haven't. So,
okay.
I just smile and take it, and I just expect that Coach Rule will have this thing humming by 2026 when we go to Eugene, and then it'll be a different story.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But so I think the other thing, my takeaway from this recruiting activity, guys, and it's a theme we've talked about before, is Coach Rule addressing areas of need, right, and not standing pat. And so I think that's just really encouraging. We need more help in the wide receiver room. We need more help in the running back room. And they're continuing to go out and get guys. And I think the other thing is, he's doing a better job of keeping the high school recruits. So you think about his first recruiting class, now his second recruiting class is going to be coming in. So they're building that foundation, but in the meantime, they're not waiting around either. They're bringing in guys that can help the program right away. And again, I know, we joke about nobody wins the offseason better than Nebraska or more than Nebraska.
Damn right.
But and we're proud of it.
Yeah.
But like, this is some big time stuff, guys. None of us, Nair didn't play at Texas this year, so who knows, right? So I mean, let's be realistic. But I'll take a guy who's played big time college football. As we all know, Texas is in the playoff this year, so he's been part of a winning program. Oregon's been a winning program. These guys have been a part of like serious winning programs. I'll take guys like that all day long, and sometimes all anybody needs. Remember Kenneth Walker at Michigan State? All he needed was a fresh scenery, and he became the best running back in the country.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think part of it is since the commitment from Raiola, I feel like that had me, obviously. Duh. I mean, 5-star. But now if they make a decision on anything after that, I'm like, it's instilled confidence in me and the coaching staff. So I'm like, well, this guy, they got Raiola. So if they tell me, I don't know crap about most of these guys, I'll be honest with you. So when they throw a name out there, I'm like, well, he must be awesome. They got Raiola. So this dude must be awesome. So now I'm just more than thrilled anytime I get news of a commitment at all. I'm like, we're good. We're good. This guy's great. This guy's got to be great. Yeah. They got Dylan Raiola. So this guy's got to be awesome. So it's kind of nice to, I don't know. And you talked about it too. Like, he didn't really follow the recruiting in depth before, and I never really have. But to be honest, the recruiting in the last few years before Rule, there wasn't really anything. I felt like the offseason was just kind of
right.
quiet, and now it's just all buzz all the time.
And I had thought about this too, and it's one of those things where you hesitate a little bit to like bring up the past, and obviously it's been fairly painful for us, but I think there's something to that. Like, we haven't followed recruiting because it's like, how many big things, how many big splash recruits, how many big transfers have we really gotten over the last number of years where we really struggled? And I guess you could say those two go hand in hand. Like, our team had a terrible record, so then recruiting was okay or subpar, not even that great. But I'm with, like, TJ, you kind of mentioned it, like, I just love seeing these guys take big swings. Yeah. Like, I love the aggressiveness on the recruiting trail. I love the aggressiveness in the transfer portal, and I just a little bit that we kind of know of the staff so far. I don't think that it's anything like where they're like kicking their current guys to the curb. It's just like, we need more bodies. We need more competition. It just festers more success. Yeah. So, absolutely. So that's the part that I love. I just love the aggressiveness. It's just like, why, and our buddy on our text thread, our buddy PW brought this up about, Matt Rule having so many connections in the coaching game and, in college and the NFL, and, a lot of his assistants, I'm sure, have so many connections. That stuff does pay off. It does go a long way. Especially I think now more so than ever with the transfer portal. It's like, a coach might say, hey, this guy wants to, thinks he wants to transfer. He's third, fourth string here. Like, maybe I should talk to my buddy and see if they need a running back or receiver. Right. I wouldn't doubt that stuff is happening already. Yeah. So I think PW had a great point there.
Yeah. Well, I was going to make a point and I just lost it, Matt.
It's gone now.
It's totally gone. It's Sunday night. What are you going to do? Well, the other kind of really fascinating news coming out of the weekend, reported by multiple outlets, is that Dana Holgorsen is in talks with the staff about a potential role on the staff. So for the common fans who don't know, Holgorsen was most recently the head coach at Houston. Before that, he was at West Virginia for a number of years. But I think the main reason this is intriguing is because he's known as an offensive guy. He's been an offensive coordinator. He's been a quarterbacks coach. His teams, his offenses have scored lots of points.
A lot of points.
So it's kind of fascinating to me. He has been known as an air raid guy.
Yeah, he's a Leach disciple.
Yeah, he comes from the Mike Leach tree.
Halmum, Mike Leach.
All right.
Air raid.
So I don't foresee the Huskers moving in that direction. So it's kind of fascinating. And you know how it is with he's probably gotten a big buyout from Houston. And so it could be something as simple as being an analyst, right? And just offering some thoughts to the staff about the offense. Maybe he'd be willing to be a quarterbacks coach here. And like we don't currently have, there's a limit on the number of assistants you can have in the NCAA. And we're currently, we don't currently have an open spot. So that would take, I don't know what they would do there. The thinking would be they'd probably remove one of the other assistants and have Satterfield coach that position or something like that. Right. I mean, they'd have to make it make sense. But really fascinating about Holgorsen. And you wonder, it's like, are Matt Rule and Holgorsen just like buddies? And they're like how serious is this? Right. That's what you really have to wonder.
The timeline, I think, would work out to where they probably wouldn't they have coached against each other in the Big 12, West Virginia and Baylor? Does that timeline work out?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. So it could be that they're buddies. But I think where I'm at with Holgorsen, and for the record, I think he's kooky, but I love him. Like you said, his offense has always scored a ton of points. You can't tell me he doesn't know a thing or two or 12 about quarterback and wide receiver play. If you've watched any of his teams over the years, he's always got some stud receivers and he's always got a quarterback with a cannon. So you can't tell me he doesn't know a thing or two about those two things. And maybe the guy knows a ton of football. Don't get me wrong. Schematically, does it fit with what we want to do? Not really, but who cares? I mean, Wisconsin is trying to run a more pass happy offense, which I don't necessarily think is a great idea or agree with, but because that's going against their identity, what they've been for years and years and years, and what made them successful. But it doesn't hurt because we're going to have to throw the ball at some point. We're going to have to throw the ball.
And the other thing is, look at what our offense was last year.
Right.
I don't think we want somebody who has the exact same philosophy, like bring in some new ideas, bring in, that doesn't mean you're going to adopt all those ideas, but bring in somebody who's, like you said, has been really successful and scored lots and lots of points. I'm all for it. I mean, especially we cited the data a few episodes ago that Satterfield's offenses have been much better when he has not also had the responsibility for coaching quarterbacks. So even if it's like making Holgorsen the quarterbacks coach, all for it, right? All for it.
Right.
You want to just replace the offensive coordinator? Maybe we could talk about that. I don't know. Maybe we could talk about that.
We could have that conversation.
I don't think a lot of Husker fans would lose sleep over that.
No. And if Dana happens to be an offensive analyst and we send Satterfield off to fly a cargo plane full of rubber dog shit
out of
Hong Kong, then Dana can just step in.
That's exactly right.
I have confidence in him just strictly from his name. I'm a big fan of people that have the name that can be used for both male and female, like Dana. Like Dana could be used as a girl and a guy's name. And Dana White is a very successful person. A good example of that would be what's his name? Leslie. Leslie is another name of a girl and guy's name that can work both ways. Is very successful.
Like Leslie Nielsen.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Terry's another good one.
Matt.
Thank
Terry
you,
Bollea. Isn't he Hulk Hogan? Isn't that Hulk Hogan's name, Terry Bollea?
Yeah, sure is.
The people with names that go both male and female are always successful.
There's got to be a name for that. There's got to be a name for that. There's got to be a specific name for somebody that's got a name that could be male or female. But
I don't know. Terry, Leslie, Dana, we're in good hands. He's named the right name.
That's a very interesting point, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I think one of you just said it a minute ago, but I think, again, the exciting thing here is it feels like you almost are disappointed if you come out of a weekend and there isn't buzz or there isn't some new announcement or something about another recruit, another transfer. It's the time of year and part of it's where we are in college football. But just a lot of really exciting things happening with the Huskers, and will be some more fun stuff to follow, because they got a couple more weeks, I think, to add. Well, you can really, I mean, the transfer portal, I still don't fully understand. I feel like you can keep adding guys into spring ball or after spring ball or into the summer or whatever it might be. So hopefully more to come on that front. Shifting gears, guys, I sent it to both of you. I encourage all the Common fans to check it out. This was hilarious, but ESPN's Instagram account posted a video. This woman made a bingo card for her husband's. Her husband's a big Cowboys fan, and she made a bingo card listing all of his most commonly used reactions during Cowboys games. And then I think it appeared to be unbeknownst to him. She was just filming him watching the game, and then every time he did something, she would like show her bingo card and cross things off. So it was things like, covers his face, or first down gesture, quiet clap, or like there were a couple of things in quotes, so like things that he says. So one of them was "get him," and one of them was "what are we doing?" So those both felt kind of familiar as for Husker. But it was just really funny, and it got me thinking. And full disclosure, Common fans, we chatted about this, so we all came prepared. And I should point, well, overall, everyone should find that Instagram post, and it was pretty PG, but it was hilarious. But it got us thinking, what would be on our bingo cards. So I'd be curious what you guys have got, either behaviors or what you say during Husker games. Did you guys come up with anything?
I have a few of like basically some phrases that I think I say every game. I asked my wife and my son. My wife said, I don't usually watch football games. I'm like, well, that's a great point. You don't. So I asked my son, and I told him a couple that I thought I said frequently, and he backed me up on it. One that I know I say at least once a game, maybe multiple times a game. And I'm sure you guys probably say this too, and many other gentlemen watching football, is big third down here. Just like, I don't know, big third down here.
All the time. The first series of the game.
Big third down here. Some other ones I frequently say, got to get some pressure on the QB here. I got one. I wrote one down. And I know my wife has said multiple times when watching games is, how many drinks is that for you? And I usually get asked that after I get a little bit angry at a missed catch or an offsides or something like that, and I don't curse, because usually the kids are watching or nearby, but get a little animated, and then it's, how many drinks is that for you? The other one I have, and the rest after that, it's like we've talked about these other ones many times, but I find that at least once a game, at least when I'm watching at home, I'll all of a sudden find myself not even sitting down, just standing nervously.
Yes.
Maybe hands braced on the back of the couch. Maybe standing there with my legs, with one leg crossed behind the other leg, very awkwardly and weird. Just because sometimes I get so anxious and nervous that I feel more comfortable standing than sitting on a couch watching the game. So those are some of my bingo card selections.
What about you, Geoff?
I can't believe that. It's like categories. I thought for sure you would say something that would like cancel out one of mine, but I'm pretty sure that all of mine are kind of unique from yours, but those are good ones too, as I do them. My wife actually chimed in on a few, and I have noticed this, that for some reason when I shout like God, like after something terrible happens, it's like God, but it's like God da, like there's like an A at the end of it. God da. Like it's longer, it's more drawn out. The other thing she pointed out is I do notice this too. Like I try and not curse if the kids are in the room. So I will like put my hands on my face, and she says I mumble just some gibberish that sounds like the F word. It's not the F word, but it sounds like it. Like just that's the sound right there. Just this right here. It's ridiculous. The other one that I'm guilty of, and this is completely lame, but if it's a big play and it's a potential scoring play, I'm like up and I'm close to the television, and it's almost like I'm running across the TV with the play, like as it's happening, like get in there. Pacing, crouching, blah blah blah. We all do that type of thing. Switching seats.
Oh yeah, I put that one.
Yeah, I do shout like any passing play that involves any contact whatsoever. I always shout, "Throw the flag! Throw the flag!" The only other two, this is unique to me. Back when I used to smoke heavily, is I swear to God, I would go out and take a smoke break when I was stressed out, and something good would happen whenever I was outside. And I would come back in, and it was always the same situation where people would tell me to stay the hell outside. And so I'd watch most of the game like through a window, just chain smoking heaters outside when it's like cold out.
Holding it outside with your head stuck inside.
looking in the door. Yep.
What's happening? Was he in bounds?
Stay outside, asshole. Close the door. And the only other one was, I know that you guys have done this before, but when you do score, and that's that moment of joy when people start giving the high fives, inevitably, I don't know why, but like I'll decide to switch it to a fist bump, and then before you know it, you've got that awkward like going in for a fist bump, the other guy's going in for a high five, and then you're back and forth like switching, and then before you know it, they're just grabbing your fist.
Oh, I love it.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Those are fantastic.
Thank you.
So I showed the video to my wife, and I told her we were doing this. She's like, "Oh, that's funny. That's a great idea." And I asked her, like, well, what would you say for me? And I'll give a little bit of context. Like my wife, I've said many times, she's an Oregon Duck. She likes college football. She likes to watch football. And she told me several years ago that I was ruining college football for her because of how emotional I get during Nebraska games.
This isn't even fun.
So yeah, that might have been like
PJ, it's not even fun anymore.
Yeah, that might have been pre-kids, or maybe like kids were really little or something. So I've really focused on, we've talked about that. I've worked on that. I've tried to get better.
Working on myself.
I'm in my 40s now. It's like being a mature adult while watching a bunch of kids play a game shouldn't be too much to ask. But I give you all that background because when I asked her for the list, like she immediately rattled these things off. Like I pulled out my phone and started typing so I wouldn't forget all of them because they were just off the top of her head. So first of all, she said that before she said her list, she goes, "There's just like a manic quality to watching any game with you, whether it's going well or poorly." And then the ones that she just rattled off were punching the couch pillow, throwing my hat, texting various people as if we can have some impact on the game.
We're coaching.
And then she said she didn't say that, she actually demonstrated it, but she's like, "And you do this," or like that, like, because I don't think it really sounds like that, but it's like this. I do this like grunt. It's like anger mixed with anxiety mixed with like whatever, but I'm also trying to keep it together and trying not to scream. So I'm trying to muffle it a little bit. And this sound comes out that, is probably pretty weird for everyone involved.
Inanimate sounds and grunts coming from Husker fans.
Exactly.
Love it.
And then, yeah, the other ones I thought of for myself. I mean, a lot of the ones you guys said, kind of talking to the TV, yelling at the TV, pacing, all of that. But one thing I know that I say a lot is, especially on like third downs where we need a big stop or maybe obvious passing downs, I don't know where I got this or why I started saying it, but I always yell, "Send everybody." It's like, send the house.
Send everyone. Yep.
Send everybody.
Bring them all.
And then one thing I remembered that I used to do, like, it was probably like a nervous excitement thing because it would always be when we had just scored a touchdown or when we were about to kick a field goal. But you guys remember Barrett Pickering, the kicker?
Yeah.
So I used to always say, Pickering doing the kickering.
Oh yeah.
And like looking around for like the kids to laugh or something. And like anybody. And that didn't really work out too well for me. But anyway, well, I saw that. I mean, I saw that thing. Obviously, the guy's a Cowboys fan, but that just made me think of Husker fans so much.
I mean, the
and
Cowboys
like
are always down.
When I asked Sal, I asked my wife, she was like, "Oh, that's a good idea." She was like, "I'm gonna do that." Like she was like, I think our wives would all know immediately. Like, "Oh yeah, I know about this."
Well, that's so good because just anybody a fan that's a serious fan of any team that has to watch every single game can completely relate to the bingo card.
Yes.
Like there are things that happen during the course of watching your favorite team for 2.5, 3 hours that I mean, I think all three of us and many thousands of football fans go to a different place. Like we are like for me, when there's a Husker game going on, I'm not thinking about anything else in the world besides the Husker game. And there is a beauty to that. But it also leads to these manic moments, these anxious moments, these nervous cigarette break moments, and all these things.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Now we're proud of you, Jeff.
We look like completely crazy people. Like if somebody walked in and had no idea how people watch American football, especially like fans of a certain team, they would think we were absolutely deranged.
The aliens
gotta get a stop here is another one. Gotta get a stop here.
Gotta get a stop here.
Gotta get a stop here.
The aliens who've been watching us for forever are just like, they're like, we're gonna have no problem taking over these people when the time comes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Another thing I say is one stop, one time. One stop, one time.
I will like to preface that those reactions are strictly reserved for Nebraska games, because the Notre Dame games, I mean, we really don't have many problems like that. I don't really have to get upset. Things usually fairly go our way. So those are Nebraska games. Okay. I just want to let you know that.
I mean, gag me with a wooden spoon.
Nobody cares about your experiences watching Notre Dame games, Jeff.
Oh, what the hell? I bet you there's some. I bet you we have an Irish fan. I bet you our podcast.
Yeah, you're the only one. It's you. It's you.
I implore you, common fans, if there is a Notre Dame fan out there, tweet, email, reach out.
Let us know, common fans. No, but
you're not alone.
Let me tell you. Let me say it clearly and distinctly, common fans. We don't care if you're also a Notre Dame fan. Like, we legitimately don't care. We would like to hear from you about what would be on your bingo card. So send us an email, commonfangbr@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter @commonfangbr on Twitter. So hit us up. Let us know what would be on your bingo card. This is a common theme on the Common Fan podcast about how Husker football makes us crazy because we're so in love with the Huskers. All right, we're going to pivot one more time, guys. We got one more kind of fun segment. Shout out to associate producer, Dr. Weber, for sending along this idea. Thank you, Dr. Weber. But we've got a series, and he also provided several of the examples, I should point out. We got a series of over-unders here. So we're going to start with some kind of like, like basic ones, and then do some ridiculous ones as well. And Matt and Jeff, we texted about this a little bit, but I would invite you guys to throw out anything else you might have thought of.
And you're gonna love this too, aren't you? You degenerate gambler. You're gonna love it. Oh yeah, you're already putting money down, aren't you?
I don't gamble, Jeff.
Mattio's got a big smile on his face.
I don't gamble. I'm not a gambler.
All right, the first one we're gonna do is, and Matt, I should ask you, from your friends who gamble, maybe you know this. When we're gonna do an over under, they always pick a number, and then you pick whether it's going to be over under that number. What does that number refer to? Is it the line for the over under, or is it something else? Do you know?
For the over under, I always called it the total. So like I think yesterday for Nebraska, I just happened to glance at it for Nebraska Wisconsin basketball game. I think the total was 140 points, around 140.
I just Googled. It's called the total. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we damned.
Huh. Good job.
Lucky guess.
I wonder how you knew that.
Yeah. What do you know?
Who knew? All right. So first one, fairly basic, but still kind of fun to talk about. First one is number of wins in 2024. We're going to set it at 7. Like I thought about 6.5, but I thought that was too easy. Like everyone's going to pick the over. Everyone's going to pick 7 wins. No one wants to pick 6 wins. I feel like 7's a little harder. Like 8 wins might be a stretch. No one wants to go 6 wins. So I don't know. What do you guys think for that one?
Over.
I don't know why basically since we got Dylan.
Yes.
I've had 8 in my mind. Okay. I think 8 and 4 in 2024 has too much of a ring to it. I think we're going over. I don't think, and just barely. Woo. So I'm saying 8, and I don't want to go push. Nobody likes to push. So I'm saying 8. I'm saying over.
No, that's spot on.
I gotta go 9. I'm gonna go 9.
Okay,
Jeff, it's just over under, but that's okay. Thank you.
I don't care. All right.
But I will say the schedule also cooperates.
Yes.
And so that's a reason to be optimistic. I will also say though, guys, just to do something a little bit different than you guys. I was going to go over simply because I think we're going to win more than 6 games. I believe we absolutely can win 8 games in 2024, but given recent history, there's a little bit of doubting Thomas in me. So I am going to go with the push, Matteo, and go with 7, just because I think that's the most likely, even though I'll be, I want to believe that 8 or even more than 8 are possible.
Oh, you go push. You don't win anything. You don't lose anything. That's
yeah,
fine.
Right. Exactly. So you live to fight another day.
That's right.
Okay, so number of rushing yards by Nebraska's leading running back in 2024. So that's a little bit tricky because we don't know who that's going to be. I set the total at 1,000 because we haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Divine Zigbo, I believe. And before that, we hadn't had one since Amir, if I'm not mistaken. So we used to be running back U. We used to have I'd have to go back and look. I'm pretty sure we had seasons where we had multiple guys rushing for 1,000 yards. Would be great to get back to that. I do believe Coach Rule is committed to the run game. If somebody like this Dowdell guy from Oregon can emerge as the number 1 back, supposedly like a big physical back, and he can be a 3-down back, and then I think it's perfectly reasonable. So I'm going to go over on this one. I'm going to say we do have. I think at year 2, the offense is going to click much more, which is going to be good news for the run game. So I'm going to go over. Jeffrey, what about you?
I'm going to say under, simply because you said Rule's a big running guy, but I still don't think that Satterfield is, and I don't see him changing very much. So I'm going to see him out there having Rayola chucking the ball all over the place. So I'm going to say under for that reason alone.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Matteo?
I'm going to say under, but not for the same reason as that Jeff is saying. I'm going to say because we're going to spread the carries around.
Nice.
So I could see where we got one guy that gets 800 or 900, another guy with 500 or 600. Maybe it's Dowdell and our buddy Emmett Johnson or something like that.
Well, we love Emmett Johnson on this pod.
We do.
I think he's got a lot of promise. So
we do. So I think they'll spread the carries around enough that we'll have success running the ball, but I don't think we'll have a 1,000-yard rusher.
Okay. Fair enough, boys. All right, one more sort of real one, and then we'll get into some fun ones. So it's interesting. I checked the numbers for where Nebraska ranked on defense multiple times since our season ended. And I guess it would make sense, but they seem to keep adjusting as bowl games happen and as the playoff games happen. So we have been 13th and 15th, and I just checked it right before we started recording. We're now 11th in total defense on the year, which again, God, I love Tony White. Don't go anywhere, Tony White. Pay the man, Trev Alberts, please.
Come on the podcast, Tony.
Come on the podcast.
We'll convince you to stay. Come on.
So over under on where the Nebraska defense will be ranked in total defense at the end of 2024. We set it at 11, which is where they landed this year. So will they be in the top 10 or not is basically the question. Matteo.
I'm saying yes. We will be under, wait, how are we doing this? Under 13. So we will be top 10. Would that be an under?
Oh, good. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. No, just say 10 or 12.
Yeah. We'll be better
10 or higher.
We'll be better than 11th. We'll be better than 11th.
Yeah. I'm going to go
on that one. I agree with Matt.
Okay. I'll go with that one too. I think the defense is going to be phenomenal. I just think you can have a great defense and still not have a top 10 defense. So, I don't want to put too much on the boys, but I think Tony White's got broad shoulders. He can handle it.
They were so good in year one. Like
exactly.
A year to kind of just continue to improve and work on things. Like there's no doubt in my mind. Personally, I think that they'll be better. So yeah,
absolutely. Okay. All right. This next one, we need the common fans to keep in mind that Dylan Raiola has a younger brother named Dayton Raiola, who is a pretty good looking high school quarterback as well, and very much on the Huskers radar as well. So keeping that in mind, number of national championships the Huskers will win with a Raiola at quarterback. And we're setting that at 4.5.
Over. We aren't going to win it next year, but we'll win at least 2 with Dylan, and then maybe 3, I think, with Dayton.
Can I just say this has a very Da Bears feel to it? Like, are we going to start doing the things where we're going to who would win in the Indy 500? Dylan Raiola. I'm over. Screw it. I'm with you. Over.
Ditka. Yeah. All right, we're all going over. Great. So, Husker fans, prepare yourselves for at least 5 national championships in the next 8 or 9 years. This could be fun, guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be crazy.
All right, the next one is the number of times the name Dylan Raiola is spoken in the state of Nebraska in 2024. We set the total at 5 million.
I mean, I think we've already hit that number.
Let's do some analytics here. What's the population of state of Nebraska? We're like 3 million?
I don't know.
It's 1.8 million.
Oh God. So I mean, that means if everybody says his name 3 times.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
How do you know that? How do you
think that? No, I think that's pretty.
Well, Owens guessed 3, so like, how do you know that? Like,
I don't know.
Off your head. It's just weird.
Okay, 1.964 million.
Wow, that's really damn close. I'm gonna say
ridiculous, man.
Over 5 million.
I think he's already hit that number. I'm just enamored with that. It's spot on, basically. 1.8 million.
He's proud of his state. He's proud of his state, Jeff. What the hell's your problem?
I love Nebraska, Jeff, and I in a previous life served the people of Nebraska in various roles. So
good for you. We appreciate that, TJ.
Yeah,
we've already spoken his name 5 million times. So yes, I'm gonna go with the over. That's already happened.
Definitely going on
the over already hit. It's just it's only January 7th. The over has hit.
It's already happened.
There was no science or data behind picking this number. Maybe we should have set it at 20 million. Whatever the number is, I think we all would have picked
it's over.
All right, this one's kind of interesting. Number of years Raiola will be at Nebraska. Now, this is assuming I put it at 3.5. I guess we should always consider the possibility that any player could transfer. But I put it at 3.5 simply because I assume he's gonna have such a highly successful career that he's gonna have options to go to the NFL after 3 years. And so that's the context here, not anything else. So I'm gonna say over and say 4, just purely out of wishful thinking and hoping that we have 4 years to try to get as much as we can out of this 5-star quarterback.
I'm going under because I think after we win the national championship, after we win the back-to-back national championships after his junior year, he's going to go pro, where he will be a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, Dayton will be ready by then, so
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, okay.
Going over.
Nice.
I don't have a reason for it. I'm just saying that we're going over. He'll be here forever. Owens, I don't like your answer. It offends me.
What the hell?
You're kind of a sensitive little Irishman. Okay, number of runzas that Geoff will eat in 2024. Now, keep in mind when we set the total here, 2024 is a leap year, so there's an extra day, so you got to factor that in. So went ahead and
here he goes with his numbers again. 1.8 million. Round the carry the 1.
So we went ahead and set the total at 1, and I'm going to take the under.
I'm going to take the under too. I don't think how long ago? How long has it been? How long has it been since you had one?
Never underestimate somebody that's working on a tight budget that's frugal. It's Temperature Tuesday.
Temperature Tuesday.
It's Temperature Tuesday time. I would eat a lot of things just to save $1. All right. I know that sounds.
You have more insight into this than anybody, Jeff. So what? I mean, is it over? Is it the over?
I'm going to say over for sure because
Okay.
I almost
pause.
went to Runza the other day.
We need picks. We need the receipts.
We need the receipts.
Okay.
And answer my question. When's the last time you ate a Runza?
Oh God, it's probably been, I don't know. It's been probably about a month, I would say.
That's surprising.
It's not like I just I'll still eat them, okay?
Oh, so you still eat them. You just continue to mock them by calling them a beef and cabbage hot pocket.
Well, that's what they are. I'm sorry. I just call them by what their ingredients
are. Complete
I mean,
slander.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I just lay their ingredients out there for all of Husker Nation to know. Hey, everybody listening, it's beef and cabbage, okay? I'm sorry that offends Owens that I tell you what's in that hot pocket you're eating.
Oh, I just think it just sounds you're generalizing it too much.
And thank you, Runza,
it needs to be glorified a little bit more.
Yeah, you seem to have an edge when you talk about it. You seem to have a chip on your shoulder.
I want to say thank you to Runza first and foremost for trying to give these things away. All right, thank you very much. The month of January, do they do it in February too? The Temperature Tuesday?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. But the month of January, thank you, Runza, for just giving your food away because I know it's hard to get people to actually pay full price for these things.
Wow. Listen.
Now time out, Jeff.
No. To the good people at Runza, please let me offer the caveat.
I'm just saying thank you.
That Geoff
I just said thank you. I'm being nice to him.
These are his own opinions. They don't speak. He doesn't speak for the board of directors. He doesn't speak for the Common Fan podcast. This is his own opinion. We're free speech absolutists on this program, so we're not going to censor him. But in no way do we agree with him. Let me just say
just take the cabbage out. All right. I mean, I would be on board. You just give me some beef and cheese in a hot pocket. I'm down. I just don't understand the cabbage thing. It just really irks me.
Okay.
You know what, Jeff? You know what, Jeff? Then take your business elsewhere.
I have. They do have good cheeseburgers and they do have good fries. So I will give them that. Good ranch.
Well, and they're not necessarily completely giving it away. You have to buy a drink and I think some fries or onion rings to get the Runza for whatever the price is at. What is it? Yeah. The temperature at what is it? 7 a.m. something like that.
6 or 7 a.m. something like that. But I will tell you that the lines that I see at Runza is just absolutely appalling to me. Like how long people are willing to wait in a drive-through for a free beef and cabbage hot pocket. It's astounding. I mean, again, I do it too. So it's pretty crazy to me. Never underestimate people living on a tight budget that are frugal like myself. I'll still eat it.
Right.
Yeah. The George Costandas of the world continue to thrive. Yeah. Thank you to Runza. Yeah. Thanks, Runza.
I don't think there's any gray area with where Geoff is here.
No, there's not. Thank you.
All right. Did you guys have any other over-unders that you wanted to share, or that might be a good one to end on?
I got another one.
You guys you guys sent some to the group. I don't know that I got them all in the notes. So.
I have one.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, it's a good. I mean, this feels a good segue to it because my take on the Runza thing was over/under on how many Runzas Matty Owens Sr. will eat in stadium Runzas, which is to me the best kind of Runza that you can get anywhere is the piping hot stadium Runza.
And what'd you set the total at?
I'm setting it at 5.
And just keep in mind, I think we have 8 home games next year. There's always 7 or 8 home games. So
and I usually maybe miss 2 home games a year.
How often do you double up?
Very rarely.
I'm still gonna go over.
What'd you say at 5?
5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna say 6. I'll even give the number.
Okay.
Nice. You get more a
game.
Well,
now I'm definitely gonna eat more than 5.
Now you have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
Well,
like I kind of want another one. Well,
you already bet on it, degenerate.
I mean, I might even double up every game I go to. One in the first half, one in the second. You go out for a couple beers at halftime. Guess what I need again? Another Runza.
There you go.
What do you got, Jeff?
The only other thing I had was no, you really can't do an over-under on this. I'm just gonna say it. I want to take a shot at Valentino's. Like their pizza is just too expensive. All right. And I was gonna say, what's the over-under on the average cost of a single slice of Valentino's pizza this year? but we don't even have to get into it. All right. I don't want to go into
it. Are you talking about a slice at Valentino's or like at the stadium?
It doesn't even matter. Just in general. I mean, you give me a slice of pizza, give me a medium pizza, give me a large pizza. It's all expensive. I just want everybody to know. It's ridiculously overpriced.
Val's slices at the game is also the best Val's, by the way.
I agree.
It's very good. I will say that's the only way I like it, actually.
But what's interesting, Common fans, we've mentioned this before. Matt, Jeff, and I go back decades. We've been friends for a long time. We were in high school together. But doing this podcast, like I have continued to learn things about both of these guys, but especially Jeff, and just all your strong opinions on things in the world, Jeff. First of all, I love it. I love you. Here's my latest observation. You are George Costanza.
No, I'm not.
You are George Costanza.
He really is.
Hi, is this Valentino's? I'll take one medium pizza, please. That'll be $45. Thank you.
It's not. And you're always posting on Twitter about the cost of Five Guys, and which I love Five Guys. I haven't been in a long time. I don't know what.
Don't get me started on that. That's outrageous. That's outrageous. Valentino's is the Five Guys of the pizza world. How do you like that? How do you like them apples?
Jeff, there's an expression. There's an expression that you pay for what you get. So, if you're willing to cough up a few extra bucks for quality, like the good folks at Valentino's, you can taste the tradition, in my opinion. And, exactly right. Valentino's, if anyone out there at Val's is listening, we love you. And we would welcome any type of sponsorship, money or pizza that you want to throw our way. Don't listen to Jeff. Don't listen to Jeff.
All right, fellas. Well, this was a fun one. Thank you, Common fans, for listening. We got a lot of things brewing in 2024 that we're really excited about. We have multiple guests lined up for the very near future. So that's exciting. And we got some other things in the hopper that we're excited to tell you about. So in the meantime, keep watching the news for more. Get that Husker fix, because there seems to be buzz and excitement and news coming out just about every day about new people, new recruits or coaches wanting to join Matt Rule and what he's got going on in Lincoln. So Matt, Jeff, it's a pleasure as always. Common fans, thanks again. GBR for life.